Most people don't fail because they're not talented. They fail because they stop showing up. They get distracted by noise, by comparison, by comfort. Every morning, life whispers, "Are you still committed?" And most people hesitate before answering. But listen, man, champions aren't made on game day. They're made in silence, in repetition, in the lonely hours when no one is watching. Consistency is not glamorous, but it's the only bridge between average and greatness. Discipline is the currency of dreams. And mindset, that's the fire that keeps you walking through storms long after motivation fades. This is not about doing more. It's about becoming more. It's about forging the kind of mindset that doesn't need permission, praise, or perfect conditions to keep going. Today, we're going to talk about what it really means to live like a titan, focused, disciplined, and unstoppable. Brother, let me tell you something about scars. They're not proof of weakness. They're proof of survival. Every scar on your body, every wound on your heart, every failure that almost broke you, that's not shame. That's a map. And if you study it long enough, you'll see it points to everywhere you've been and everything you've become. Too many men spend their lives trying to hide the parts of themselves that hurt. They cover their past like it's something dirty. They act like pain disqualifies them. But listen to me, pain qualifies you. It means you've lived, you've learned, and you've carried weight that others ran from. You can't build a strong future while pretending your past doesn't exist. Denial is not strength, it's avoidance. Strength is looking straight at your story and saying, yes, that happened, but it doesn't define me anymore. You see, your past wrote the first chapters, but you hold the pen now. You're not the character trapped in someone else's script. You're the author learning to rewrite the ending. Think about that. For years, you let other people's opinions become your voice. You let their judgment shape your self-worth. And somewhere along the way, you stopped asking, who am I really? That's what happens when you let wounds become walls instead of wisdom. You start protecting the pain instead of healing it. You start building excuses instead of bridges. And that's how potential dies, slowly, quietly, behind fear that's disguised as comfort. But the truth is, brother, you can't outgrow what you refuse to face. You can't find peace if you keep running from the mirror. The man you're becoming is waiting on the other side of the man you keep avoiding. You know what I'm talking about. Those nights you lie awake replaying what went wrong, those mornings when guilt whispers louder than your goals, that's not punishment. That's your conscience asking for closure. That's your soul saying, let's finish this chapter differently. Listen to me. No one escapes pain, but you decide what pain becomes. It can be your prison or it can be your professor. The difference is whether you stay bitter or you get better. When you carry shame, you live small. You shrink your voice, you dim your light. You stop applying for the promotion, stop chasing the dream, stop believing you deserve more. All because of a story you've been repeating for years that no longer serves you. Here's the psychology behind it. The human mind clings to identity, even if that identity hurts. If you've been the one who failed, or the one who was left, or the one who never finished, your brain tries to protect that role because it's familiar. Change feels dangerous, even if it's healing. That's why people stay stuck, not because they can't grow, but because growth feels foreign. So here's the shift. Stop asking, why did that happen to me? and start asking, what is it teaching me? That question changes everything. It moves you from victim to student, from powerless to powerful. Let me give you something practical, something you can do right now. First, write down your story, raw and unfiltered. Every regret, every loss, every heartbreak. Don't edit it, don't justify it, don't pretty it up, just get it out. Because truth is like infection, it heals only when it's exposed to light. Second, underline every moment that taught you something, even if it was painful. Maybe it showed you who your real friends were. Maybe it forced you to grow up. Maybe it revealed what you really want from life. Every lesson matters. Third, rewrite that story from the point of strength. Start each sentence with, because of that failure, I learned resilience. Because of that heartbreak, I learned self-worth. Because of that mistake, I learned responsibility. That's how you take back authorship. That's how you change your past from a wound into wisdom. And brother, don't underestimate the power of telling your story out loud. When you share where you've been, not as a victim, but as a victor, you give others permission to do the same. Transparency is contagious. Authenticity is leadership. You ever notice how the strongest people in the room don't hide what broke them? They speak from it. They stand taller because of it. That's because pain refined them, not defined them. You've got to stop waiting for the world to validate your new identity. No one's going to crown you healed. No one's going to clap when you forgive yourself. This part of the journey, it's quiet. It's between you, your past, and the mirror. Listen, man, at some point, you have to forgive the younger version of yourself for not knowing what you know now. He did his best with the tools he had. You're the upgrade. You're the version that learned. Stop punishing yourself for surviving. Owning your story doesn't mean glorifying your pain. It means acknowledging your evolution. It means saying, I'm not who I was, and I'm proud of who I'm becoming. Let me paint this picture for you. Imagine your life as a movie. The first act, chaos, chaos. The second act, struggle. The third act, redemption. Every great story has conflict. Every hero gets knocked down. But the magic is in the comeback. And right now, you're writing your comeback. You might be in the middle of the hardest season of your life, but that's exactly where transformation hides. Diamonds don't form without pressure. Gold doesn't shine without fire. And you won't evolve without struggle. You are not behind. You are not broken. You're just becoming. So start today. Take that one step, the uncomfortable conversation, the journal entry, the apology, the decision to forgive yourself. That's how healing begins. That's how you start living as the author, not the actor. Remember this rhythm: awareness, acceptance, action. Awareness opens your eyes. Acceptance quiets your shame. Action writes your next chapter. And when the past tries to pull you back, when the memories whisper you'll never change, tell them this: watch me. Because once you own your story, nothing owns you. You start walking lighter. You start speaking bolder. You start showing up with purpose instead of permission. Every morning becomes a new page. Every challenge, a new paragraph. Every victory, a sentence that says, I made it. And that's how you build momentum, one truth at a time, one brave choice at a time, one rewritten line at a time. So look at your scars again. They're not reminders of where you fell. They're markers of where you rose. You've carried pain long enough, brother. It's time to carry power. And when you walk into tomorrow, don't drag the weight of yesterday with you. Walk in like a man who knows. I wrote that story, and I'm still writing it. Because the moment you own your story, discipline finally has a direction, and that's where we go next. Brother, let me drop something heavy on your heart. The chains that hold you down can be the same chains that set you free. Sounds like a paradox, right? But that's the secret most people never learn. See, freedom without structure is chaos. It looks exciting at first, but it slowly destroys you. Real freedom is not doing whatever you feel like. Real freedom is having power over what you feel like doing. Discipline is not a prison, it's a doorway. The walls you build with routine, consistency, and focus. They don't lock you in, they lock out distraction. Every boundary you set is a shield protecting your potential. You don't become free by removing limits, you become free by mastering them. You want to live wild? Then you better build strong roots. You want to chase big dreams? Then you better set some rules. Because without discipline, dreams decay. Without structure, passion burns out. Listen, man, structure doesn't kill creativity, it sustains it. Look at musicians, athletes, actors. Every one of them lives inside a system. Practice, repetition, refinement. That's not confinement, that's control. A lion without focus is just a big cat chasing its tail. But let's talk truth. Most men today fear discipline because they confuse it with punishment. They think routine steals excitement. They think saying no means they're missing out. But brother, what you're missing out on is purpose. You're chasing distractions while your destiny waits. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to become. Every time you say no to comfort, you say yes to character. Every time you wake up early, keep your word, stick to your workout, finish your task. You're training your mind to obey your mission, not your moods. Let me tell you something real. An undisciplined man is a slave, not to another person, but to himself. He's controlled by his impulses, pulled by his habits, manipulated by his emotions. He wants to change, but he's too addicted to the comfort of chaos. He's free on paper, but bound in practice. You know the feeling. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You promise you'll get serious next week. And then next week comes, and you're still negotiating with your excuses. That's not freedom, brother. That's captivity wearing comfort's mask. Discipline is the quiet power that says, I decide who I am today. It's that voice that wakes you before the alarm. It's the part of you that refuses shortcuts. It's the strength that says, I might be tired, but I'm not done. The truth is, there's no such thing as motivation that lasts, only discipline that stays. Motivation is emotion. Discipline is decision. When you rely on motivation, your progress is at the mercy of your feelings. But when you rely on discipline, your progress is at the mercy of your purpose. Think of discipline as a muscle. Every rep builds endurance. Skip it, and it weakens. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. One disciplined act every day compounds into a life most people will never touch. So let's make it practical. Here's the trinity of daily discipline: time, fitness, focus. Time, stop letting the clock control you. Start controlling it. Plan your day before your day plans you. Wake up with intention. Schedule your growth the way you schedule your distractions. Your calendar should reflect your priorities, not your impulses. Fitness. Your body is your vehicle. You can't chase purpose if your engine's breaking down. Move daily. Push yourself. Lift something heavy, even if it's just your own excuses. Physical discipline teaches mental resilience. When you master your body, you master your mind. Focus. Every notification, every meaningless scroll, every distraction, that's energy leakage. Focus is the art of saying no to 1,000 things that don't matter so you can say yes to one thing that does. Give your attention the same respect you give your money, because you're spending your life with it. Discipline in these 3 areas builds the foundation for everything else: your relationships, your career, your peace of mind. Without them, even success feels unstable. And let me tell you something from experience. Discipline doesn't get easier. You get stronger. That's why you start small. Build habits you can't break. Then expand. Discipline compounds like interest. It rewards those who stay when others quit. You want to know what real confidence is? It's keeping promises to yourself. It's looking in the mirror and knowing you can rely on the man staring back. Self-trust. That's the byproduct of discipline. And that's where the emotional hammer drops. Discipline isn't punishment, it's permission. Permission to be great. Permission to build a life that's yours, not borrowed. Permission to say, I don't need luck, I've got consistency. The world will tell you discipline is boring, but boredom is just the price of mastery. Repetition is the rhythm of excellence. Michael Jordan didn't get bored of layups. Kobe Bryant didn't skip practice because it felt repetitive. Discipline is what separates the dreamers from the doers. Look, brother, if you only work when you feel like it, you'll stay average forever. But if you work when you don't feel like it, you'll build a foundation unshakable by emotion. Discipline makes you unstoppable because it removes negotiation. There's no debate, no hesitation, only decision followed by execution. You've got to stop thinking. Discipline steals your joy. It creates your joy. When you live by principle, not impulse, you sleep better. You think clearer. You move with confidence. There's peace in order. There's power in consistency. Think of your life like a garden. Discipline is the fence. Without it, weeds invade. Bad habits, toxic people, wasted time. Build that fence strong, and you'll watch your growth flourish. Discipline also protects your energy. It filters your commitments. It teaches you when to walk away from anything that doesn't serve your mission. You learn to say no, not because I'm cold, but because I'm clear. And here's the secret. The more disciplined you become, the more spontaneous you can afford to be. Because when your foundation is solid, your freedom expands. That's why I said earlier, the chains that set you free. You want to feel alive? Stick to your word. Follow through on what you said you'd do, because every act of discipline strengthens identity. You stop saying I'm trying and start saying I do. Brother, discipline is not about perfection. It's about alignment. Your actions matching your ambition. Your habits matching your goals. Your decisions matching your dreams. That's integrity. That's how you become unstoppable. And yeah, it'll hurt sometimes. Discipline demands sacrifice. It'll ask you to trade nights out for early mornings, comfort for commitment, short-term pleasure for long-term peace. But pain without purpose is suffering, and pain with purpose is transformation. When you master discipline, you become dangerous, not to others, but to your own limitations. You walk into rooms different. Your energy speaks before you do. People can feel it, that quiet fire of a man who keeps his word. Discipline turns chaos into confidence. It turns confusion into clarity. It turns dreams into blueprints, and blueprints into buildings. So ask yourself tonight, are you controlled by your comfort, or are you guided by your commitments? Because you can't serve both. Discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from inconsistency. Freedom from the endless loop of starting and quitting. And when the temptation comes to skip a step, to break your word, to take the easy way, remember this: ease is a thief. Comfort robs kings of their crowns. But discipline builds empires. So start where you are. 1 hour earlier, 1 rep more, 1 promise kept. Stack those wins until they become identity. Because the man who conquers himself commands the world. And once you taste that kind of freedom, the freedom earned through structure, sacrifice, and self-mastery, you'll never want to live any other way. Discipline, brother, is not the end of your freedom. It's the beginning of your greatness. And when that rhythm becomes your lifestyle, when discipline shapes your mindset, that's when your dreams stop being fantasies and start being blueprints. And that's exactly where we're heading next. Because once you've built discipline, it's time to dream bigger and work harder. Brother, the size of your dream means nothing if your effort stays small. You can talk about greatness all you want, but if your grind doesn't match your goals, all you're building is fantasy. Vision without work is just imagination wearing ambition's clothes. See, most men dream within the limits of their comfort zone. They dream in safe dimensions, just enough to look motivated, but not enough to be moved. They whisper their dreams because they're scared someone might laugh. But a real dream, the kind that sets your soul on fire, that one scares you. A small dream keeps you comfortable. A big dream keeps you accountable. One lets you sleep. The other keeps you awake at night. Listen, man, life will always give you what you're willing to work for, not what you wish for. The universe doesn't reward potential, it rewards persistence. You've got to understand something powerful. The dream is free, but the grind is sold separately. Every man wants the mountain view, but few are willing to climb. They want the crown, but not the weight that comes with it. But brother, every crown has a cost, and that cost is work. Big dream plus small effort, frustration. Big dream plus bigger work, transformation. That's the equation. That's the law. Let's be real. The reason most men settle isn't because they lack talent. It's because they lack tolerance. They can't handle the heat that greatness demands. The early mornings, the late nights, the self-doubt, the slow progress, that's where most people quit. They call it balance, but really it's surrender. You ever see a lion pace in a cage? That's what settling looks like for a man with vision. He's alive, but not living. He's breathing, but not becoming. He traded purpose for predictability. Listen to me. If your dream doesn't scare you, it's too small. If it doesn't stretch you, it's just maintenance. You weren't born for maintenance, you were born for expansion. You were made to chase something so big, it forces evolution. You've got to stop playing not to lose and start playing to win. Comfort is a cage and fear is the lock. The only key is work. Relentless, disciplined, unapologetic work. The psychology of settling is simple. We fear disappointment more than we desire greatness. We shrink our dreams so we don't have to face the pain of failing. We convince ourselves that good enough is noble, that safety is wisdom. But brother, safety kills more dreams than failure ever will. Mediocrity is just comfort with excuses. So here's the truth. Dreaming bigger isn't about arrogance. It's about alignment. It's about aligning your vision with your potential. And that requires pressure, because pressure reveals purpose. You want to expand your life? Expand your habits. Stretch your standards. Double your effort. Let's talk tactics. Here's how you stretch your vision and multiply your work. 1. Enlarge your environment. You can't think like a giant while living in a room built for small talk. Get around people who make you uncomfortable, not because they're arrogant, but because their execution exposes your excuses. Success is contagious, but so is mediocrity. Choose your infection wisely. 2. Speak your dreams out loud. When you say it, you claim it. When you hide it, you doubt it. Words create accountability. So write it, say it, visualize it every day. Not because it's magic, but because it programs your subconscious to find a way. 3. Break your vision into violent clarity. Don't say, I want success. Say, I'm going to earn my first 100K by building this, learning this, and showing up every single day. Clarity turns fantasy into focus. 4. Multiply your effort. If you're giving 70%, don't pray for results that require 120. Most people underestimate how much consistent effort it takes to make dreams real. Work ethic isn't about working longer. It's about working deeper. Focus on one thing until it bends. And when you feel tired, ask yourself, what would the man who already achieved this do right now? Then do that. That's how you collapse time. That's how you become unstoppable. See, big dreamers don't chase motivation, they chase momentum. Motivation is a spark. Momentum is a fire that keeps burning even in the rain. You want to know why people quit? Because they stop believing before they see results. But the grind always pays, just not on your schedule. Consistency delays its applause, but it always arrives. Remember, when you start dreaming bigger, life will test you harder. You'll lose friends, you'll lose comfort, you'll lose sleep. But you'll gain focus, hunger, and purpose. Most men want easy, but nothing legendary ever came easy. Ease builds average. Struggle builds legends. Brother, if you're still asking how long will it take, you're not ready. The real ones ask, as long as it takes, because they know greatness is rented and rent is due every day. So build your dream brick by brick. Get up when no one's watching, grind when no one's cheering. And when you want to quit, remember who you said you'd be. This is the rhythm. Dream big. Work bigger. Repeat until destiny opens the door. You'll have days when you question it all, when the results are invisible, when the weight feels unbearable. But listen, every seed looks buried before it blooms. It's not buried, It's planted. Stay rooted long enough, and you'll rise higher than you imagined. Big dreamers live in delay. They understand patience isn't punishment, it's preparation. And here's the secret few tell you. The work you're doing right now isn't just building your dream, it's building you. Your focus, your grit, your resilience, all forged in the grind. You think you're chasing the goal, but really, the goal is shaping you. So when you wake up tomorrow, don't just think about your dream. Become the kind of man your dream requires. Because the dream doesn't come to who wants it most, it comes to who works for it most. And the difference between the man who makes it and the man who doesn't, it's not luck, it's not talent, it's endurance. It's who can suffer longer without losing purpose. Brother, let your ambition be louder than your excuses. Let your consistency speak louder than your doubt. There's a reason I say dream bigger, work harder, because when your dream expands, it pulls everything else with it. Your mindset, your habits, your hunger. Most people think small to avoid pain. Titans think big because of pain. They use the struggle as rocket fuel. Every no, every failure, every delay, that's energy. Transmute it. Let rejection become redirection. You want to stretch your vision? Stop looking at what's possible. Start looking at what's necessary. Then do it twice as hard. Every great achievement started with a delusional goal and an irrational work ethic. Dreamers build reality. Doubters build excuses. You've got to fall in love with effort, not outcome. Because outcomes are unpredictable, but effort is always in your control. And listen, your dream won't make sense to everyone. That's the point. Vision isn't meant to be understood by those who haven't seen what you see. You're not crazy, you're called. So stop waiting for validation. Stop shrinking to fit small rooms. Step into your full size. The man you were is too small for the dream you're chasing. Shed him. Outgrow him. And if you're ever scared of failing, remember this. Failure doesn't kill dreams, comfort does. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be consistent. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving anyway. Every day you show up, you expand your capacity. Every rep, every rejection, every late night, that's your future self being built in silence. Dream bigger, brother. Work harder. Keep going. Because one day, you'll wake up and realize the dream didn't change. You did. And when that happens, when your vision and your grind finally align, you'll see that the dream wasn't just about achieving something. It was about becoming someone. And that's the moment you understand. Dreams don't survive without resilience. Because the dream is only as strong as the man willing to fight for it. And that's exactly where we go next. Fail forward. The crash is louder when your heart is in it. You can feel it echo through your bones. That moment when everything you built just falls apart. Dreams that once felt unstoppable suddenly lie shattered at your feet. The silence that follows, failure, is the hardest sound in the world. No applause, no advice, just you and your thoughts. But listen to me, brother. Hitting bottom is not the same as being finished. That fall you're afraid of, it's a classroom disguised as chaos. Every defeat is a teacher that doesn't sugarcoat the lesson. Failure strips away illusions and forces you to meet the real you, the one behind the excuses, the masks, the pride. You see, most people fear failure like it's a thief. They hide from it, avoid it, pretend it doesn't exist. But the truth is, Failure doesn't steal from you. It reveals what's left when everything else is gone. It's not the end of the road, it's the turn that leads to your true direction. Falling forward means learning to land with purpose. It means refusing to let shame own your story. When you fall, don't fall back into regret. Fall forward into growth. The fall hurts, yes, but it pushes you closer to who you were meant to become. Every successful man you admire has a private museum of failures he doesn't show the world. Behind every breakthrough stands a long hallway of broken plans. You think discipline is hard? Try regret. Regret lasts longer, cuts deeper, sleeps beside you when you quit. Failure is not a verdict. It's a signal. It's life whispering, you're not done learning yet. So stop treating every loss like a burial. Treat it like a birth. Something inside you is being born through that disappointment. The world doesn't remember the people who never failed. It remembers those who refuse to stay down. Every stumble rewires your instincts. Every heartbreak expands your capacity to care. Every rejection trains your patience and your focus. Resilience isn't natural, it's built, rep by rep, fall by fall. You want to know the truth? Failure will test your self-respect. It'll ask, do you still believe in yourself when no one else does? And your answer, not your comfort, not your connections. Your answer will shape your destiny. Don't waste your energy blaming people for the fall. Blame distracts. Ownership transforms. When you take responsibility, you take power back. Because as long as you're blaming someone else, you're giving them control over your comeback. Think about it like this. Gold is refined through fire. So why would your spirit be any different? Every trial burns away weakness. Every setback purifies your purpose. You don't come out of failure smaller. You come out sharper. Your pain is not punishment. Your disappointment is not proof you're unworthy. It's proof that you're in the arena, that you're fighting for something that matters. And fighters fall, but they get up every time. Listen to me carefully. Falling forward is not about loving failure. It's about refusing to let failure define you. You can lose everything, money, time, people, but as long as you keep your will intact, you haven't truly lost. Willpower is the last light in the tunnel. Don't let it go out. Every great inventor broke things before building greatness. Every champion lost before winning. Every visionary was doubted before being celebrated. You can't shortcut the pain. You can only grow through it. Here's how you mine gold from your worst moments. Step 1. Admit what happened without shame. Step 2. Extract the lesson without bitterness. Step 3. Apply that lesson ruthlessly in your next move. That's how you turn failure into wisdom instead of wounds. If you treat every mistake as information instead of humiliation, you'll never lose twice to the same lesson. And that, brother, is how growth compounds. Not through success, but through refined failure. You know why failure stings so bad? Because it attacks your identity. It whispers, maybe you're not who you thought you were, but that's the very moment you must answer back. Then I'll become more than I ever imagined. Falling forward doesn't mean rushing the process. It means trusting that this season of pain is building unseen strength. Even when progress feels invisible, keep moving. Stillness in the storm is not weakness, it's wisdom. Every time you get back up, you prove something to yourself. The world can't give you self-respect. And that self-respect becomes your armor. The next storm hits. And you don't panic, you pivot. You start seeing failure as feedback, not fate. The truth is, failure hurts worse when your ego drives your journey. When you're chasing approval instead of purpose, every fall feels fatal. But when you're driven by growth, even defeat feels divine. Because you start realizing the fall was never punishment, it was preparation. You can't climb new mountains carrying old shame. Let go of what you lost and reach for what's next. The universe doesn't waste pain. It recycles it into progress for those who stay humble and hungry. Repeat after me. Fall forward. Rise stronger. Repeat. Say it again until it sinks into your bones. This is how warriors are made, not in the comfort of success, but in the furnace of failure. Your character is forged in the heat of setbacks. Every failure, every tear, every sleepless night, it's shaping your endurance. And endurance builds authority. When you've been through storms, your voice carries a different weight. People can feel the miles you've walked in your words, so don't fear the fall, respect it. Don't curse the lessons, collect them. Every crack in your story lets more light in. Your scars don't disqualify you, they credential you. Failure is not your enemy. It's your evidence. It proves you tried. It proves you cared. And caring in a world full of quitters is already victory. Brother, listen. The mountain doesn't shrink for anyone. You grow into the kind of man who can climb it. Each fall is just your body learning the rhythm of the ascent. Each setback is a message. Keep going. You're becoming unstoppable. So the next time you hit the ground, don't ask, why me? Ask, what's this trying to teach me? Because the lesson you refuse becomes the limit you live in. You've learned enough from the pain. Now it's time to apply the wisdom. Fall forward, yes, but don't just survive the fall. Stand up taller. Move smarter. Lead stronger. Because failure teaches, but people shape us. And when you rise again, the world will follow your example. Iron sharpens iron, but rust spreads rust. You can't expect to shine if you live in the shade of dull company. Every person around you is either sharpening your edge or softening your spirit. And sometimes the dullest blade in the room is the one you refuse to walk away from. Brother, listen, you can't rise surrounded by people who are comfortable sinking. Your circle is your climate. If your environment stays cold, your fire won't survive long. Energy is contagious, so is mediocrity. Check the temperature of your tribe before blaming the weather in your life. We like to think we choose our future, but in truth, we choose our circle, and our circle chooses our future. The 5 people you spend the most time with are quietly programming your destiny. You start to mirror their language, copy their habits, absorb their fears. Their standards become your ceiling. Their excuses become your lullaby. You can't dream like a lion and run with sheep. You can't preach discipline and spend weekends drowning in distraction. Proximity is power, but it's also poison if you're standing too close to comfort. Every conversation is a seed. Some people plant courage in you, others plant doubt. Some speak possibility, others specialize in poison. You've got to learn to protect your soil. Not every seed deserves your garden. Brother, hear me. Loyalty is beautiful, but blind loyalty is dangerous. You can't heal in the same environment that broke you. You can love people from a distance and still keep your destiny close. Boundaries aren't betrayal, they're protection for your calling. Show me your friends, I'll show you your focus. Show me your mentors, I'll show you your mindset. You don't need a crowd, you need a council. A few men who call you higher when you'd rather stay comfortable. Real friends don't flatter your weaknesses. They fight for your greatness. They tell you when your attitude stinks, when your effort slips, when your faith fades. They don't just clap for you, they correct you. Because iron doesn't clap, it clashes. And that clash is what keeps you sharp. The circle you keep determines the storm you can survive. A weak circle folds under pressure. A strong one locks arms and walks through fire together. Surround yourself with those who pray for you in private and push you in public. Brotherhood is not about having people who agree with you. It's about having people who believe in you. Not yes men, but growth men. Not people who feed your comfort, but people who feed your conviction. The ones who remind you of your purpose when pain makes you forget. Listen, there's science behind this. The brain mirrors what it repeatedly sees. Sit long enough with quitters, and your drive starts to dissolve. Spend time with visionaries, and your imagination expands by default. The company you keep rewires your chemistry. Environment shapes emotion before motivation ever arrives. That's why discipline isn't just personal, it's environmental. If your friends celebrate laziness, you'll soon confuse rest with stagnation. If your circle fears failure, you'll start calling safety wisdom. Your atmosphere becomes your autopilot. You can't hear destiny when the room is full of noise. Some people are loud with laughter, but quiet with purpose. Others speak little, but move mountains behind the scenes. Find the quiet warriors. They don't post every grind. They live it. Seek men who talk about vision, not victims. Seek women who build, not blame. Seek elders who correct with love and lead with experience. Mentorship isn't weakness, it's wisdom multiplied. Brother, here's how you build your inner circle. First, find one who's ahead of you, a mentor who sees the mountain from higher ground. Second, find one who's beside you, a brother who fights in the trenches with equal fire. Third, find one who's behind you, someone to lift as you climb. Because leadership without legacy is just ego in disguise. The mentor guides you. The brother challenges you. The student reminds you of how far you've come. Together, they keep your purpose balanced. Humility at the base, hunger at the top. But beware of the comfortable crowd, the ones who never question your stagnation. They'll call your boundaries pride and your ambition greed. They'll mock your growth because it exposes their apathy. You'll lose people when you start leveling up. But remember, you're not losing loyalty, you're losing limits. Sometimes God removes people from your life because they've reached their expiration date in your story. Don't chase who's walking away. Protect what's walking toward you. Elevation requires isolation for a season. The climb always thins the crowd. Brotherhood isn't about numbers, it's about nutrients. A small circle of disciplined men can build an empire faster than a stadium of spectators. You don't need validation, you need vibration. You need people whose energy multiplies your mission. If they drain you, they're not your circle, they're your cage. If they mock your standards, they're not your brothers, they're your anchors. Walk with those who respect your grind even when they don't understand it, because alignment beats applause every single time. Let's be real. Accountability hurts. No one likes being called out on their inconsistency. But a real friend will risk your comfort to save your character. They'll tell you to wake up, to get back in the gym, to stop making excuses. They love you enough to offend you into excellence. Don't confuse correction with criticism. Correction is love in action. It says, I see your potential and I refuse to let you waste it. That kind of brotherhood doesn't compete, it completes. Sharpen each other, elevate together. Pray over each other's dreams like they were your own. Push each other past fatigue, fear, and false humility. Because together, iron doesn't just shine, it sparks. And sparks light the path for others still walking in darkness. Brotherhood is not just friendship, it's a covenant of growth. It's saying, I'll hold you accountable to the man you said you wanted to become. And when one of you stumbles, the other refuses to let him stay down. Now understand this, people matter, but purpose outlasts applause. Your tribe can lift you, but they can't walk your path for you. At some point, you'll have to stand alone. And that's okay, because solitude is where purpose sharpens its final edge. So when the lights fade, when the voice is quiet, when even your brothers step back, that's your moment of truth. That's where you remember, iron sharpened you, but fire forged you. And purpose. Brother, purpose burns longer than praise. Applause fades in seconds, but legacy echoes for generations. One day, the cheers stop. The followers move on. The spotlight finds someone else. But the work you built in truth, the lives you touched in silence, they keep whispering your name long after the noise dies. You see, this generation confuses attention with achievement. We count likes like they measure worth. We chase numbers as if they define purpose. But brother, the crowd that praises you today will scroll past you tomorrow. You can't build eternity on temporary validation. Listen to me. Fame is loud but fragile. Impact is quiet but eternal. You can't hear applause in the grave, but your actions still speak there. The world doesn't remember how many views you got. It remembers who you became. The modern trap is invisible. Approval addiction. We post before we process. We perform before we prepare. We crave reaction more than reflection. And every dopamine hit takes us further from discipline. Somewhere along the line, the chase replaced the calling. We started asking, will they notice me? Instead of, will this matter? And that's the moment we traded legacy for likes. The moment we stopped creating from soul and started curating for applause. Brother, you can't serve two masters. Purpose and popularity rarely share the same stage. If your dream depends on validation, it dies in silence. But if it's rooted in principle, it grows even in the dark. True greatness doesn't trend, it endures. Every like is a spark, bright, brief, gone. Legacy is the fire that keeps burning when everyone's asleep. You don't need more attention, you need more intention. You don't need a platform, you need principles. Listen, likes disappear. Legacy remains. Posts get buried. Purpose gets remembered. Fame is rented. Character is owned. So ask yourself, what are you really building? A moment or a monument? The truth is simple. If you live for applause, you'll die when it stops. But if you live for purpose, no silence can touch you. Approval is borrowed energy. Conviction is permanent power. Let's talk about character, that quiet strength built when no one's looking. Legacy begins in unseen places. Early mornings, honest work, silent sacrifices. It's formed in the decision to do right when shortcuts whisper your name. Integrity is invisible currency. It buys you peace that fame can't afford. The man who keeps his word when no one would know otherwise, that's legacy. The woman who helps others without posting proof, that's impact. The leader who stands for truth when silence would be safer, that's greatness. Real legacy isn't built on stage. It's built in struggle. The world is loud with illusion, filters, followers, flashes, all designed to distract you from the truth. The real power lies in substance, not show. You can't photograph character. You can't upload honor. And you can't fake purpose for long. It leaks through your actions. Don't let the world trick you into thinking visibility is victory. Some of the greatest builders of humanity never went viral. Their faces forgotten, but their fingerprints remain. In hospitals, schools, freedom, art, kindness. Legacy doesn't crave spotlight, it creates light. Brother, your legacy isn't measured in metrics, it's measured in moments. It's in the kid who watched you grind and decided not to quit. It's in the friend who heard your truth and found courage again. It's in the stranger who saw your example and believed they could rise. Your legacy lives in people, not pixels. Don't aim to impress the world. Aim to improve it. Because fame feeds ego, but service feeds generations. And when the applause dies, it's your character that echoes in eternity. Building legacy is simple, but not easy. It's saying no when yes would please people. It's choosing patience over popularity. It's doing small things right, over and over, until they build something unbreakable. Every disciplined morning, every honest act, every moment you lead by example, that's a brick in your legacy. You don't build it overnight, you build it every night. Consistency lays the foundation. Integrity cements it. Legacy is what happens when purpose and perseverance shake hands. So don't worry about being liked. Worry about being lasting. You don't need everyone to know your name. You need a few to carry your impact. Because the goal is not to be famous. It's to be followed after you're gone, not by fans, but by footsteps. Let's get real. Chasing validation is spiritual exhaustion. It leaves you hungry no matter how much you consume. But purpose satisfies differently. It feeds you through silence, through struggle, through solitude. Likes will never fill the void that legacy was designed to hold. And once you taste the peace of impact, applause sounds hollow. You'll realize, I don't need to be seen. I just need to serve. Because service is the echo that never fades. Brother, here's how you start building legacy today. Be consistent when no one's watching. Keep your promises even when it costs you. Lead with empathy, not ego. Teach what you learn. Forgive faster. Love deeper. And do it all without needing credit. Legacy is the long game. It's patience, painted over decades. The small daily choices compound into an eternal story. Every time you choose growth over gossip, purpose over popularity, integrity over image, you're adding pages to something that will outlive you. But here's the secret. Legacy doesn't mean perfection. It's not about never falling. It's about never faking. It's about admitting mistakes, learning, and evolving publicly. Because humility is magnetic, honesty outlasts hype. Legacy is not the absence of failure, it's the presence of endurance. It's built by those who fall, rebuild, and rise stronger. It's written by men who dare to be authentic in a world obsessed with appearances. Remember this rhythm: likes fade, legacy forms. Attention burns out, impact burns deep. Followers vanish, footprints remain. Every like feeds ego. Every act of purpose feeds eternity. Don't chase quick claps, chase quiet change. Don't build followers, build foundations. Don't impress, influence. Don't seek to be viral, seek to be vital. Because the moment you stop performing and start living with purpose, you cross the line from relevance to reverence. Listen, brother, legacy is not what you leave for people. It's what you leave in them. The wisdom, courage, and example that outlasts your presence. And when you live like that, you stop caring about how many see you. You start caring about who becomes better because you existed. So stop scrolling for validation. Start sowing transformation. Stop counting followers. Start creating future leaders. Stop posting for applause. Start performing for purpose. Likes disappear. Legacy remains. And that's not just a phrase. It's a philosophy. Because one day, when the lights dim and your name fades from screens, your story will still be speaking through someone you inspired. Your consistency, your courage, your character. That's the echo that never dies. And that, brother, that's how greatness becomes eternal. Power transition, legacy is carved in pain. And the next truth is this: before legacy shines, life will test your strength. Pain is not punishment, it's preparation. And that's where the next chapter begins. Pain turns to power. Fire doesn't destroy you, brother. It reveals what you're made of. Every flame that ever touched your life wasn't meant to consume you. It was meant to forge you. See, gold doesn't shine straight from the dirt. It screams through the fire first. And you, my friend, are no different. Pain is not your punishment. It's your purification. It's not the devil coming to take your peace. It's destiny coming to test your potential. Listen to me. The things that broke you weren't meant to end you. They were designed to bend you toward becoming someone stronger, deeper, wiser. You've been through storms that should have drowned you, but somehow you're still breathing. You've walked through nights that seemed endless, and yet the sunrise keeps finding you. That's not luck. That's divine endurance. See, pain is a teacher that never lies. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't sugarcoat. It tells you exactly who you are when comfort is gone and no one's watching. It pulls truth out of your bones. Most people run from that kind of truth. They numb it, avoid it, bury it beneath noise and distraction. But the warriors, they lean into it. They look pain dead in the eye and say, "Teach me." Because here's the secret. Your greatest teacher wears the mask of your greatest enemy. That heartbreak, that betrayal, that loss, it was never about what was taken from you. It was about what was being built within you. Every setback sharpened your instincts. Every disappointment stretched your faith. Every sleepless night deepened your compassion. Pain carved capacity. See, comfort is the enemy of growth. Ease never made a legend. Struggle is the sculptor of greatness. Every giant you admire, every name you respect, they were all born in the dark room of difficulty. When you lift in the gym, it's not the light weights that transform you. It's the resistance. The heavier the load, the greater the growth. Pain works the same way. It tears you just enough to rebuild you stronger. And I know it hurts. Some days you wake up with that ache in your chest, wondering when life will finally ease up. You smile in public but fight battles no one can see. You pray for peace but get tested with fire. I know, but brother, every flame has a purpose. Every wound holds wisdom if you're brave enough to listen. Let me tell you something. The world won't. Pain is energy, raw, unfiltered, electric. If you bottle it up, it poisons you. But if you channel it, it becomes your power source. Write through it, train through it, build through it, pray through it. Turn that heartbreak into fuel. Turn that disappointment into drive. Turn that rejection into revelation. You can't control what hurt you, but you can control what it creates inside you. Don't waste your wounds. Make them work for you. Every scar you carry is a survival story, proof that the fire failed. You've already conquered more than you give yourself credit for. You didn't just survive, you adapted. You didn't just endure, you evolved. Pain doesn't leave you empty. It leaves you equipped. It gives you empathy where you once had ego. It gives you patience where you once had pride. It gives you purpose where you once had plans. That's the transformation from victim to victor, from broken to built, from weeping to winning, from ashes to armor. But listen carefully. This isn't about pretending the hurt never happened. Healing isn't denial. Healing is facing what hurt you and saying, you no longer define me. You stop letting old wounds write new chapters. It's not easy, it's not instant, but it's worth it. Because every time you rise again, you remind the universe that pain is powerless against perseverance. Here's the growth equation. Comfort kills potential. Struggle births greatness. No exceptions, no shortcuts. If it's easy, it's empty. If it's hard, it's holy. So don't curse your challenges. Cultivate them. Don't despise the detours. They're divine direction. Don't fear the fire. That's where your wings are formed. You ever notice how a phoenix doesn't rise from success? It rises from ashes. Its beauty is born through burning. That's you. You are being remade, refined, reborn. Every moment that broke you is also birthing you. Every loss is loading you with lessons. Every tear is watering the soil of your next season. Don't rush the process. Trust it. Because one day, the same pain that once made you question everything will become the reason someone else doesn't give up. You'll speak from scars, not theory. And they'll feel the truth in your voice because you earned it. That's how pain becomes purpose. When your story starts healing others. When your testimony becomes a torch. When you use your wounds as windows for light to pour through. So the next time life knocks you down, don't ask, why me? Ask, what now? Don't say, I can't take it. Say, I'm being trained for something bigger. Pain isn't the end of your power. It's the beginning of it. It cracks the shell so the strength can come out. It breaks the illusion so the truth can breathe. It empties you so purpose can fill you. You can't become your highest self while holding on to your comfort zone. You have to be willing to walk through the fire of becoming. To stand where it burns and still believe you're being blessed. Because that's what transformation looks like. Ugly, uncertain, unrecognizable, until it's glorious. So rise, brother. Not as who you were, but as who you were forged to be. Carry your scars like medals. Wear your pain like armor. And let your story be the proof that nothing meant to destroy you succeeded. Pain to power. Wounds to wisdom. Scars to strength. That's the path. That's the process. That's the promise. And when the next chapter comes, when faith meets fire again, you'll smile because you'll know the truth. Pain teaches, but faith sustains. And together, they make warriors out of ordinary men. Because when faith takes over, brother, nothing, not pain, not failure, not fear, can stop your rise. Faith, it's the anchor that holds when the waves start roaring. It's that quiet strength under your feet when everything else is shaking. You can't see it. You can't touch it. But brother, when the storm hits, it's the only thing keeping you standing. See, the world teaches you to believe in what you can measure, in what you can prove, in what you can hold. But faith is the opposite of proof. It's trusting the foundation when the house hasn't even been built yet. When the wind screams and the sky darkens, that's when faith whispers, I've got you. When the money runs low, when the calls don't come back, when the people you trusted turn their backs, faith says, keep walking. Faith isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep moving in spite of it. Listen to me. Belief is the bridge between where you are and where you're called to be. It's the invisible rope that connects your present struggle to your future strength. Without it, you drown in doubt. With it, you walk on water. Faith is not magic. It's motion. It's movement in the dark. It's obedience without evidence. It's showing up when you don't see the result yet. That's why most people quit. They pray for doors to open, but when nothing moves, they walk away. But faith says, if it hasn't opened yet, maybe I'm the one being built. Because sometimes God doesn't change your situation. He changes you through the situation. You ever seen a tree in a storm? It bends, it sways, it almost snaps. But the roots, the unseen part, that's what holds it steady. That's faith. The unseen foundation that keeps you from breaking when life pushes you to your limits. And brother, that foundation doesn't appear overnight. You build it one prayer, one test, one hard day at a time. Every unanswered question strengthens your root system. Every delay digs your trust deeper. Every trial plants you firmer. Faith is not loud. It doesn't shout for attention. It moves in silence. It grows underground. By the time the world sees your fruit, the roots have already been preparing for years. You know what the problem is? Too many people want the harvest without the hidden season. They want the spotlight without the soil. But God doesn't grow oaks in shallow dirt. He grows them in storms. You say you want strength. He gives you struggle. You say you want wisdom. He gives you waiting. You say you want patience. He gives you pressure. Because faith grows in the gap between asking and receiving. And that gap, my friend, is where warriors are born. The place where nothing seems to be happening. That's where everything's happening. Faith teaches you to trust the process, not just the promise. To believe in the roots before you ever see the fruit. When your vision blurs, when your body's tired, when your spirit's stretched, Faith is the fire that won't go out. It's that voice that says, one more step. Even when you're limping, even when you're crying, even when you don't understand. Faith doesn't make the fight easy. It makes it possible. It doesn't remove the mountain. It teaches you how to climb it. And once you reach the top, you'll realize the climb made you stronger than the view ever could. Now hear me. Belief is not passive. It's active warfare. Every morning you wake up, you choose faith over fear. You speak life into dry places. You give thanks before the blessing arrives. You show up with discipline when motivation is gone. That's faith in motion. So what are your daily rituals? What are the habits that anchor your belief when life starts spinning? Because faith without structure fades. You build it like a muscle. Repetition, resistance, rest. Pray with purpose, not performance. Journal your gratitude before the day begins. Read something that reminds you who you are and whose you are. Speak affirmations not because you feel powerful, but because you're declaring truth into the chaos. That's faith practice. Invisible reps building visible resilience. And brother, when life hits you hardest, when you don't know what to do next, sometimes faith looks like stillness. Sometimes it's not another move forward, but another breath deeper. Stillness doesn't mean surrender. It means trust. It means knowing that the ocean is still under control, even when the waves look wild. Believe beyond sight, trust beyond feeling. That's the rhythm. Because feelings fluctuate, faith doesn't. The heart gets tired, the spirit endures. Faith stands when everything else falls. You won't always see the outcome. You won't always get the timing you want. But if you keep sowing in faith, the harvest comes when it's meant to. Not early, not late, perfectly on time. The greats didn't make it because they had proof. They made it because they had peace in the middle of the storm. Martin had faith when the dream looked impossible. Mandela had faith through 27 years of prison walls. Maya had faith when her voice was silenced. Faith kept them alive when logic said it was over. So don't you dare let the silence make you doubt your calling. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean God isn't working. The seed grows underground before it breaks the surface. Your time is coming. Keep the faith. Because when faith fuels your fight, no fear can defeat you. You stop chasing proof and start walking in purpose. You stop reacting to the noise and start listening to the whisper. You stop waiting for signs and start becoming one. Faith turns ordinary men into leaders. It turns doubters into dreamers. It turns the broken into builders. It turns the fearful into fearless. You want to change the world? Start with your belief system. Because a man who truly believes, even when no one else does, becomes unstoppable. His presence shifts rooms. His conviction commands respect. His consistency creates miracles. So when you wake up tomorrow, before you grab your phone, before you check your messages, check your faith. Ask yourself, do I still believe? If the answer is yes, then you've already won half the battle. Because faith is the fuel that keeps the fire alive. It's what turns defeat into destiny. It's what transforms fear into focus. It's what keeps your heart steady when your hands are shaking. And one day, when you look back, you'll see that every step you took in the dark was guided by a light you couldn't see. That every no, every delay, every detour was divine design. that every storm you survived was proof of how unshakable your foundation truly was. You didn't walk by sight, you walked by trust. And that made all the difference. Because, brother, faith builds leaders, and leaders change worlds. And when leaders rise with faith in their hearts, purpose in their hands, and fire in their spirit, that's when the world begins to shift. Leadership isn't about standing above men. It's about standing with them, in the mud, in the fire, in the moments when everyone else steps back and you're the one who steps forward. The first man to step into the fire, the last one to leave it. That's leadership. Brother, listen, titles are given, but leadership is taken daily. Anyone can wear a crown, but not everyone can carry its weight. Because real leadership isn't granted by applause or position. It's earned by consistency, by courage, by character. You want to know what a real leader looks like? He doesn't wait for permission. He gives direction through action. He doesn't say, "Follow me." He moves first. He rises before the sun. He handles the weight nobody wants to carry. And he does it not for credit, but for cause. See, good men often hesitate. They wait for signs. They wait for validation. They wait for someone to tell them it's their turn to lead. But leadership doesn't wait. It acts. Hesitation kills momentum. And too many men spend years waiting for the perfect moment that never comes. You want to lead? Then rise, right where you are. Start with yourself. Before you guide others, guide your own mind. Before you correct anyone, correct your habits. Before you command respect, command your emotions. Because you can't lead a team if you can't lead your thoughts. Leadership begins in the mirror. It's the discipline to do what you said you'd do long after the feeling is gone. It's holding yourself accountable when no one's watching. It's walking with integrity when shortcuts are whispering your name. It's managing your emotions when anger wants to speak first. Master yourself. Then the world will trust your direction. People don't follow words, they follow weight. The weight of example, the weight of consistency, the weight of someone who lives what he says. Because a true leader's influence isn't in his speech, it's in his standard. You can tell a lot about a man not by how he commands others, but by how he commands himself. His focus, his discipline, his restraint, his respect for time, his treatment of people who can't offer him anything. Leadership is service. It's not the loudest voice in the room. It's the calmest in the storm. It's not the one chasing spotlight. It's the one protecting his people from the fire. Real leaders don't run from responsibility. They absorb it. They carry burdens others can't handle. And they still smile because they understand. That's what they were built for. Brother, leadership will test you. It'll isolate you. Because when you rise, you leave the comfort of the crowd. You'll be misunderstood, doubted, challenged. But that's the cost of calling. You can't be both liked by everyone and trusted by those who depend on you. So stop chasing comfort. Chase clarity. Stand firm when it's hard. Speak truth when it's unpopular. Protect your principles when compromise looks easy. Remember this. Leadership is not about power. It's about responsibility. It's about showing up even when you're tired. It's about listening before you speak. It's about making the tough calls with wisdom, not ego. It's about lifting others, not standing on them. And the strongest leaders, they never forget humility. They remember what it feels like to struggle. They lead with empathy, not arrogance. They don't use authority to dominate, they use it to elevate. Because true greatness is never self-serving, it's self-giving. Every great leader you admire started by leading one person, himself. He led his habits when nobody saw. He led his focus when distractions tried to steal it. He led his emotions when pressure tried to break him. He led his consistency when motivation ran out. And one day, that private discipline became public trust. So ask yourself, what are you leading today? Your time, your words, your mindset, your family, your community? Leadership doesn't start when they hand you a title. It starts when you decide your life will be an example. You see, every decision you make is a message. Your actions speak louder than your advice. Your effort preaches louder than your opinions. The way you show up every day tells the world what kind of man you are. Rise first. Lead by example. Repeat daily. That's the rhythm. You rise when it's uncomfortable. You lead when it's inconvenient. And you repeat that process until it becomes who you are. Leadership isn't a season, it's a lifestyle. You lead at home. You lead at work. You lead when no one thanks you. Because it's not about who's watching, it's about who you're becoming. The world is desperate for men who lead with courage and conviction. Men who don't need validation to stand for something real. Men who keep their word even when it costs them comfort. Men who carry honor like armor in an age that mocks discipline. You might not realize it, but someone's watching you right now. A younger brother, a coworker, a son. Someone's learning how to live by watching how you move. So make your steps count. Become the kind of man who reminds others that integrity still exists. And here's the truth. Leadership never ends. Because when your time is done, your example continues. Your consistency echoes. Your discipline inspires. Your courage gives others permission to rise. That's legacy. So don't wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. Don't wait for the world to call you a leader. Act like one until it can't deny you. Show up early. Work with excellence. Treat people right. Make decisions with purpose. And when the fire comes, step into it first. That's what separates the men who wish from the men who walk. The followers from the founders. The talkers from the titans. Leadership isn't about being fearless. It's about walking forward even when you're afraid. It's about carrying faith in one hand and responsibility in the other. It's about building bridges while others build excuses. And brother, never forget, every time you rise, someone else finds the courage to do the same. Your strength becomes their spark. Your example becomes their permission. Your leadership becomes their light. So rise, lead, and keep leading. Because leaders don't just change days, they change destinies. And when a man leads with purpose, integrity, and faith, that's when his story becomes his legacy. Consistency builds discipline. Discipline shapes mindset. And mindset, that's the weapon that forges destiny. When you wake up tomorrow, don't wait for motivation. Build momentum. Don't pray for easier days. Sharpen yourself for the hard ones. Because easy days never made legends. Storms did. Pressure did. Fire did. Every scar you carry isn't a sign of weakness. It's a seal of survival. It says you faced chaos and refused to break. You bled, you stumbled, but you kept moving. That's how greatness is carved, not in comfort, but in resistance. Look back at where you began. Remember that first step. Trembling, uncertain, full of doubt. You thought you were walking into the unknown, but what you were really walking into was yourself. Every battle since then has been molding you, shaping your will, tempering your heart, forging your character. And now, here you stand, the same ground, but a different soul. Stronger, sharper, wiser. The world that once intimidated you now bows to your persistence. That's the transformation. That's the revolution inside you. You see, life is not about avoiding pain. It's about mastering it. It's about using your scars as blueprints for your next masterpiece. Every rejection, every failure, every heartbreak, it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. The mountain was never blocking your path. It was your path. And when you climbed it, when you fell and got up again, you didn't just rise higher, you rose truer. Now listen, the world doesn't reward intentions, it rewards execution. Dreamers talk, builders act, and those who act, they don't wait for perfect timing. They create it. Every morning is a battlefield, and your habits are your soldiers. Discipline is your commander. Faith is your armor, and purpose is your sword. You fight not because you want to prove something to the world, but because you refuse to betray the warrior within. So when doubt whispers in your ear, stand taller. When fear knocks on your door, open it and let courage answer. Because once you've tasted self-belief, nothing else satisfies. You are not meant to survive quietly. You are meant to live loudly, boldly, unapologetically. The same fire that once scared you now burns for you. The same darkness that once blinded you now teaches you to see. And the same silence that once felt like loneliness now becomes your sacred ground of growth. That's evolution. That's power. Remember that opening metaphor. When you were the spark in the storm, now you are the storm. You don't fear the thunder anymore. You command it. You don't hide from the rain. You dance in it. Because you learned something sacred, the storm was never sent to destroy you. It was sent to reveal you. And when revelation meets resilience, destiny bows. Let the rhythm of your heartbeat remind you, you were born for this. Every breath is proof that the fight is still worth it. Every second is a chance to rewrite your story. Every dawn is an invitation to rise again. You've built momentum from ashes. You've turned pain into purpose. You've turned silence into symphony. That's what champions do. They don't quit when it hurts. They build when it hurts. Because they understand. Pressure doesn't break diamonds, it creates them. So today, make a promise to yourself. No more half living. No more waiting for permission. No more shrinking to fit places that can't hold your potential. You've been planted in fire long enough. It's time to rise in flame. The world doesn't need another echo. It needs a voice that shakes foundations. And that voice is yours. The power is yours. The moment is now. Every step you take in discipline is a seed of destiny. Every hour spent in focus is an act of faith. And every act of faith rewrites the laws of your future. You are not chasing success anymore. You are embodying it. You are not begging for miracles. You are becoming one. You are not seeking light. You are the light. Let that realization hit you like thunder. You are the answer to your own prayer. You are the fulfillment of your own potential. You are the living proof that persistence turns ordinary into divine. So breathe, stand tall, feel the electricity in your veins. Because the universe is watching, and it recognizes its own reflection in your resilience. When you walk out of this moment, walk like you own your purpose. Speak like every word is prophecy. Move like every action is sacred. And live like every heartbeat is a declaration of power. Because the truth is, destiny doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. And now you're ready. You've crossed the valley. You've endured the night. And the sun is rising, not because the world changed, but because you did. You've sealed the lesson. You've earned the strength. You've awakened the power. So go now, build the life that remembers your name. Build the legacy that outlives your voice. Build the destiny that begins every morning you refuse to quit. And when people ask what drove you, tell them, I built myself from the inside out. Tell them, I learned that greatness isn't given, it's forged. And tell them this one final truth, the truth that echoes across every era, every soul, every battlefield of the human heart. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you're destined to become. That's the seal. That's the power. That's the moment you stop wishing and start becoming.